It's hard, man. It's hard to go up in these offices being an artist. You know what I'm saying? Once you're, and back then, once you were an artist trying to oversee your business, that was kind of frowned upon.
Okay.
You needed a manager, right, that to talk for you, and hopefully that manager is in cahoots with the powers that be. You see what I'm saying? That won't ruffle feathers, if you will. You know what I mean? You got to toe the corporate line. You got to play the political game. But if you were an artist trying to take care of your business back then, oh no, nah, you're not, because now that's the artist trying to take control of his business, and you're not supposed to know that much. You understand?
That's the artist today.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not supposed to know that much. You're not supposed to know, and I know we're going to get into it, but that's the reason why I went to law school, because there were certain things that, I had a certain amount of intelligence to know that this is not right, but I need to pinpoint what it is and be able to speak intelligently about it. You know what I'm saying? Knowing the legalese and the jargon and all that other stuff. But, you were definitely frowned upon as an artist going up in there talking about, we need to, those units that you shipped out, you knew you weren't going to sell those units. So why are you charging me for those units that you weren't going to sell? And I got the buyback. It's the buyback. You know what I mean? Like these are the things that artists didn't understand back then. You know what I mean?
So I don't know how your first project actually did, like how it performed on Universal, but I know it had to perform well enough. They saw something to open up a budget for a second project, but the second project ended up getting shelved. Like what was the rationale? What reason did they tell you for shelving the second project after opening up a budget for the second project?
Great question. So after the first album, I was signed to Bostorm Universal. Bostorm was run by Mark Pitts. After the first album, the Universal decided, or Mark decided, they wanted to part ways. So Bostorm went down to LaFace. They went, to Atlanta, set up shop with LaFace. Okay. Got a deal with them, distribution deal with them. But Universal, this is what was told to me. Universal said, okay, you're in the red. You got to give us an opportunity to make our money back. Trey was the most successful artist up under Boston. We're going to keep him. You can't take him with you to LaFace.
Wow.
So, and this is what was told to me. I have my thoughts about what happened, but that I have no basis for what is just a conspiracy theory, if you will. But me being at Universal now, I don't have anybody in the building. Right? So who's speaking? Going back to what we're talking about, I'm the artist up there trying to handle my business. Who's speaking on my behalf? I'm signed directly to Universal now. So they opened up a budget and they gave me the opportunity to create an album. Me and D-Dot, I think we created a great album called Live from the 215. We had a video out called We Like. They had the likes of Ludacris and Lil Jon in the joint before, they popped off. Shot it. Brian Barber shot the video, who's the videographer behind Outkast, and shot Idlewild and all that other stuff. So, the project is quality. But as soon as we make this video and we go out on a promo tour with Ram Squad, we did that all summer of 2000, and I think in 2000. And then we come back at the end of the year in 2000, going into 2001. We get the pink slip. We get the your services are no longer needed. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, right? So going back to your question, why would they open up a budget? You know what I'm saying, to allow me to make this second album and then shelve it? I just think personally it's a write-off. You know what I mean? Because you already got Cash Money, you already got Nelly and them, supporting the top half of whatever you're trying to do. So they could afford to go ahead and, shell out some money for other experimental projects, not just mine. Ram Squad was on that list. I forget who else was signed. I'm thinking McGruff was on the label at the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, they gave us the opportunity to make these records. Again, going back to if they would have gave us this money and something would have stuck, you know what I'm saying? But then they would have probably ran with it, put some more money into it. But then, I'm hearing rumors that they purposely said, pull back on the Tracey Lee project to all the DJs that was out there getting white labels and stuff like that. That's what I'm hearing whispers of. Like I said, I have no proof of that. But to answer your question, I think they could afford to spend that money, and we talking about, see, now we getting into business 101. It ain't just Universal Records that is the operation here. It's owned by Seagram's at the time. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Seagram's got other things up under the umbrella. You know what I'm saying? This is just one thing. You know what I mean? So, they can afford to, write off a quick mill or a quick 800,000 or a quick, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Now, with that being said, because you said you did promo, you record and all that, like, is the expectation when they drop you that you still supposed to recoup that money? Like, how does that portion work? Like, is it because the company, we know they're gonna write it off, but are they still on the impression like, well, now Tracey Lee, we still expect you?
We're gonna double dip on this one.
Well, I mean, once you drop, so you don't owe that money. But I had started off in a hole. I was already 600,000. Right from the first project, so they say. See, I'm not looking at the numbers. I didn't get the accountant in there to go ahead and do the audit. None of that. I'm just going with the flow. But so they say I'm already in the red 600. And they're gonna put another 800,000 on top of that. So now I'm 1.4 in the hole. You know what I mean? So, but once you get dropped, for all the people that's listening out there, like if it's just right. They're not gonna go into your bank account and get 1.4 million out of there. Right. You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna write it off and keep it pushing. You know what I mean? But nah, I wasn't on the hook for that, like out of my pocket personally.
Yeah, I would have been like, yo, once I knew I was in the hole for that 600, I'd have been like, yo, shoot my video in black and white. Run is gonna be on a van. I'm gonna drive city to city. I'll pay for my gas. Yo, I'll print out my own t-shirt.
Mega bus or the camcorder.
Word.
Yeah, Rob.
But at this point, this is where things go. I got to do some shit for myself, and law comes into play. Mm-hmm. So, what did you get a degree in Howard?
I got the degree in communications. I got my bachelor's in communications.
So you got your bachelor's in communications, you're MC, you go through this whole ordeal, and now it's a pause now. It's a long pause, and you go to yourself, something got to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yo, can I say one thing before you answer that, Tracey Lee? Yo, just speaking on what my man Rob said, it's crazy because, growing up in a hood is people's lifelong dream to sign a record deal, but look at how it's framed, that we frame it as it's an ordeal. The experience becomes an ordeal. It's crazy, right?
Real rap. That's the perfect word to use. That's the perfect word to use. Like if you don't understand, for all the kids out there that's trying to get a deal or trying to get, you know what I'm saying, and whether it be independently or not, you know what I'm saying, if you putting your life. Like this is what I dreamt about since I was 11, 12 years old. And now I'm at the time 31, 32 years old, and it comes to a screeching halt. It's like even when I was in college, I knew I wanted to be an MC. I knew I wanted to be an artist. I knew I wanted to make records. You know what I'm saying? And I was just using these other things as stepping stones to get to that point. So when it comes to a screeching halt at that particular time, and now we in my 30s, it's like it becomes what Rob said, an ordeal. That whole experience is an ordeal. So, you gotta step back. You know what I mean? You gotta look at the game. Yep. Fresh and figure something out. And I'm a real spiritual cat, man. So, I'm praying to God every day, man. I'm just going to church and trying to get into, get into a situation where, my mind is clear so I can listen. I'm taking walks outside, man, just being one with nature, if you will, you know what I mean? Like kind of just being silent, being still and trying to, just, listen and hear what it is that I'm supposed to do. Right. And I always like to tell this story. I've told it 1,000 times, and anytime that I do interviews, I got to tell it. Like I was down on my last $7, you know what I'm saying? And I'm in Atlanta. I went down there to live with my brother. My brother had just decided that he wanted to go to grad school, so he decided he would move to Michigan. So now, thank God there was a young lady at that particular time, not my wife, but I kind of she brought me in and things like that just so I could get my thing together. You know what I mean? And so I went to church with my last $7. And I just gave it to God. I said, put it in the plate. And I said, look, the only thing I could do with this is go get a meal. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, then what? So this is kind of like the sacrifice here.
Right.
Take care of that. You know what I mean? And so a week later, I get a call from Wayne Barrow. Now, Wayne Barrow was the cousin of Mark Pitts, who was the president of Bostorm, or vice president of Bostorm at the time. And he's like, yo, Universal has a check for you, but we don't have an address. So, you know what I'm saying? Here's a number, call them, give me your address, and they're going to mail you the check. I said, okay, cool. So did that. A week after that phone call, I get a check in the mail for $7,000. So this is a 2-week span between the time I put the 7 in collection plate to the time I get the $7,000. Week after that, I get another check for $57,000. And so this whole process is me starting with me saying, what am I going to do next? I need to be still and just listen. And so that is what, prompted me to say, hey, because of the ordeal, Rob, that we're talking about, let's take another spin to this business. Let's adopt something else. Let's add something to the repertoire, if you will. Don't stop doing music, but you got to figure out from the business perspective how this thing goes. So if you're going to move forward in the future, whether it be as an executive or be an artist or what have you, or represent artists, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand, the legalese and the nuances of the game. You're not just getting in front of the mic and rhyming, you know what I'm saying? So that's where the whole idea of me going to law school. So I went down to, I took the LSAT, and got a good enough score to get into Southern University Law Center down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, another HBCU. I'm HBCU all day, you know what I mean?
I want you to finish the story, but I want you to finish the story, but I'm going to ask you, how the hell were you a staff at Coppin State? That's the most weirdest place to have a university off of North Avenue.
Yo.
Finish the story, bro.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. So, I went to Southern in 2003, graduated in 2006, passed the bar in 2007, and been a licensed entertainment attorney for the last 18 years, almost 18 years.
Nice.